Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and Dolo here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. Now, I'm gonna teach everybody how to learn. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a certain technique that it seems like people just miss. Now, I'm gonna speak for myself. You see what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure my soul group will be able to resonate with this. Now, as far as myself, I look at everybody like my children. I look at everybody like my children. So you have to let energy speak for itself. See, when we start to talk about words, and when we start to talk about perceptions, and when we start to talk about everything that's in front of us, everything that you can externally see is nothing but a shape or form or a way that the energy is playing out, right? So the energy is energy. So what I'm saying is I come in a learning energy. You see what I'm saying? And everything is positive and negative. And the better you know how to balance it, the better you know how to accommodate yourself. But there is no true balance unless you actually experience both realms. If you're not experiencing the positive and negative realm, then you're really just stagnated. And whatever you call balance is stagnation. You see what I'm saying? Because you have to understand this. It's important to understand when you're learning, the whole point of learning is learning from every perception. That's the point of learning. Because the only thing we know objectively is everyone has subjectivity. So to know anything objectively, you have to understand the totality of the story. You have to bring everything together. Everything is ways and shapes and forms. Everybody might have their own way of coming to that totality on the pyramid, but it doesn't really matter. It's the way that they're going. So when you talk about language and things of that nature and words and stuff that we use, these things play out as representations to lead certain ways. You know what I'm saying? You could learn from the air. You could learn from the sky. You could learn, but here's the thing. You know what a person knows, because if you're here to learn, you're learning perceptions, right? And you don't have no filter. You're not putting yourself in any obligation. So whatever circumstance or situation you choose to use to bring to the surface of your proposition, you know the intent. Now everything is intent, your intentions. You know where your intentions stay. And your intentions is going to determine if it's a positive or negative charge. You see what I'm saying? Now positive and negative. Positive is like a plug. It's the giver of the energy. And negative is like the plug-in. It's the receiver of the energy. But this battle plays on so many levels. You have some people playing this game on a larger level than others. You know what I'm saying? And then you have some people playing this game in their own way, in their own little secluded place. But this game is to be. It's put it like this. Put it like this. You're not going to be able to receive anything major if your output isn't anything major. If you don't really have much to give, there's not going to be much to receive. And you know that based upon how much you gave and how much you received. You see what I'm saying? So this game works in different ways. You see what I'm saying? But if you really don't have nothing to give off, then you really not going to experience any receiving. And in this realm of reality, people got it fucked up because they went to the realm of reality of receiving first. When we know God, or whatever name you want to call the everything, we know it didn't do nothing but give first. You see what I'm saying? And it's a science to giving. Y'all can go into my videos at my soul group. Y'all know all that. It's a science to giving. It's a science. It's a science to positivity and negative. But energy speaks for itself. And if the energy ain't playing out in that way in any perception, then you have to look towards the energy. You know what I'm saying? What's the energy? And then when you sit in the energy, you feel the energy. Regardless of what words or language or what's being used, you sit back and absorb the energy. And this is how you know what someone truly know, what kind of range they have, based upon what they always talk about. So if you're having a conversation with somebody that you may know in your life or something like that, you know everything they know based upon everything they talk about, everything they correlate things to, everything, and then you're going to start seeing the contradictions, and then you're going to start seeing that, okay, this person's range ain't wide enough. So without a wide enough range, right, your positive and negative charge ain't wide enough to cross anything. You see what I'm saying? And if we want to talk about, God, God had the most overall. You see what I'm saying? The most wide range, the most perspective. So we all here to learn each perspective. This is why you in the body you in right now. You're here to learn the totality of that perspective. Now, since you're in a body, now this is another thing. Every Bible you ever read is going to be based upon some planets. And the stories in it is just rung around how man seen it. But we all know the planets is about astrology. Now, regardless of what name you want to use it, or regardless of what kind of language you want to use it, all these are sitting here. All these are just different perspectives. You have certain lower perspectives. A lower perspective is like a word that's used that's so filtered from the true meaning word that it can get lost. So, but just by using that word, depending on who you talking to, is going to determine what filtering that word is going to be used in, and whoever you're talking to. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you even know who you're talking to. When you use certain words, and based upon how a person understand that word, that's how you know who you're talking to. But you have to still understand the energy. We shouldn't place energy in the actual word. We should be placing the energy on what does this actually do? What is this energy actually doing when it's presented? You know what I'm saying? What is this? So this is why you have to be careful with all your words you're saying. But it's almost like this. Say you in life and you're trying to get consciously aware, right? And you realize you have learned that everyone have their own way of learning. So that's what you learn from, right? And not just everybody as a person, everything that you are in, right? You understand that. So for the most part, when you're learning, energy is the key. So same way when you got a bunch of group of civilization that might have had this language or had this thing. Their stories and what they're talking about is the same thing, just in different words, different language, because that's how they or different shapes and forms, because that's how they perceived it. But the reason we're able to decipher it now is because they was talking about the same energy. This is why each religion seem like they're talking about the same thing, but just in different ways. Because they're all trying to explain the same energy just in their own way. So we're not supposed to knock people's ways of understanding the energy. You have some people maybe down here understanding the energy, and you have some people who up here who's trying to understand the energy. So people have higher understandings of the energy, lower understandings of the energy. The same way how I said with words. But by no means necessary are one supposed to judge one for being in those areas. And that's true knowledge. That's when you truly learn something. When you can sit back and realize that, oh, you have some people who's on this learning scale and some people on this learning scale. So you have a totality of learning perspective. So you start to take that in real life. You start to learn how to incorporate yourself with certain people, places, and things. You start to learn just off energy. This based upon the way a person is carrying themselves, you kind of know how to work with that person. You kind of know how to handle that person. You see what I'm saying? So you let the people do all the thinking they knowing and all the analyzing and all the learning. But that's what you learn from. You learn that there's actual people in the world like that. You see what I'm saying? See, we're building a brain. We're building a mind. And the better you know how to build your technology and software, the proof is going to be in the pudding. It don't matter. You can sit here and give people information about everything you ever known, right? But if you're not in the right energy of presenting it, and you don't have enough wide range to be able to come across enough people to be able to have an understanding on why people think like this in the first place, so you could come up with a better relatable way to explaining, then that means everything. Because you can give a man knowledge, but if you're giving a man knowledge in an energetic force that's unreceivable, a person can't receive that knowledge. Whether it was right or wrong, a person can't receive a knowledge if the energy that knowledge is in an unreceiving force field. So you have to understand everything on a higher level. You have to understand when you don't know something and when you know something. And you have to actually learn that energy. When you really don't know something, you learn about what you don't know. And only thing you end up learning is the shape and form or the language of it. You don't necessarily, this is one thing I'm figuring out. You don't really Nobody is really learning anything. People are just learning about themselves. And the more that they learn about themselves, they get stuck in their way of learning. So it cancelifies their range of learning. When they have to realize the point of learning is learning ranges, learning your range, learning how far you can go and how far you can't go, so you can know how much you can give off and how much you can receive. But you truly won't be able to receive anything if you truly have nothing to give off. And how you know that is how the energy is playing out. And if the energy is playing out as a small receive, a small and a small give out, then you live in a small world. That's just the energy of it. Period. That's it. That's all. Any type of way you want to reword it, any type of way you want to understand it or overstand it, any kind of way you try to logically come to conclusions of it, it is what it is. And you have people out here who's playing a bigger positive and negative game. I mean, a positive and negative role and position. You know what I'm saying? And when we want to talk about God or talk about the everything, it's only going to work through the person, place, or thing who got the most wide range. See what I'm saying? So we truly can't tell somebody what they're learning or what they don't know or what they may know. I can't tell a person what they know and what they don't know. I only know what I know. And if I'm trying to learn, I'm going to put myself in an energy and vibration of learning. So when I step outside, I'm in the energetic energy of learning. So I'm in a receiving shape of form to receive the energy of learning. Learning is an energy. Learning. People think learning is something you do. People think learning is like something you do. People think learning is actually putting in the action of trying to figure out something. See, information and figuring out something is hand in hand. But you learning is way broader than that. You can learn about information. You can learn about figuring out something, but learning go past that. Go past that. And some people stuck there. They think just learning has something to do with learning something that man made, when man can only logically make something that God made anyway. They could only just make it in their shape and form of how they look at it. Period. You know what I'm saying? So when you want to talk about learning, people think learning is an action. Learning is an energy. You have to be in a learning energy. And people block off that learning energy sometimes. You see what I'm saying? You have it's a woo. The range goes so far out there. The range goes so far out there in the learning. You know what I'm saying? That's another video. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know how my videos goes in. And it's all about range. If you got a wide range of things you can teach people, then you will have a wide range of areas you can receive from. You see what I'm saying? It's all it's an energy. And the range of people, places, and things you come across plays at many different spectrums, many different lights. So it's important for you to learn each spectrum. So then when it's time for you to teach, you can teach from each spectrum besides your own secluded spectrum. Because your own secluded spectrum is only going to attract people who are resonating with that spectrum. And everybody else from every other spectrum is just going to appear as lost or dumb to a person, place, or thing in that one spectrum. For an example, a tiger or a lion. As a human, you may seem dumb to a lion. To a lion. And then you look at a lion as dumb to you. But it's just you are as a totality of spectrums. A lion is in one spectrum, you are in another spectrum. But once you learn the lion spectrum and you understand your spectrum, then you truly understand that they're just different perspectives. One is not dumb and one is not smart. See, this is true learning. This is when you can separate the secluded box and put it in a totality of things. Now, I just put learning in a secluded box when I compared it to the spectrum of, well, it's a totality. When I compared it to the lion and the lion and the person. That's just bringing the same energy to a perspective, how we play it out every day. You see what I'm saying? But that's how we play that out every day. People play that out every day. Not just with that analogy, with everything. They take what they learn, and what they learn is just in one spectrum. So they don't have other spectrums to come across in any kind of way. So they're just attracting the positive and negative charge in that one spectrum. So their range of positive and negative is in a stagnated state. So you're not going to draw in any people, places, and things in your life to be able to bounce back and forth off of. This is the whole point of balance. But how far can your balance go? Is your balance dormant? Or is your balance is in the realm of totality of things? See, I experienced this before. I experienced this. So any person, place, or thing in front of me is not what I'm judging. I could only talk to energy. I could only talk to a spirit. I don't give a fuck if I'm about to be jumped or killed or whatever by 200 motherfuckers in front of me. I know what I'm speaking to is the energy. I'm not speaking to the person, place, or thing in front of me. I'm speaking to the energy. I'm looking at the heartbeat of it. The heartbeat. And I see how much blood is being pumped in. And I see how much blood is being pumped out. And I can tell if it's some bullshit blood to begin with. This is where you get the different vibration frequencies. So someone could be vibrating very high, but frequency very low. AKA, they getting all these high ideas. They got all these outside thoughts. You know what I'm saying? They got all these understandings. They get receiving all these thoughts, but don't even know how to put that shit in action if their life depended on it. See what I'm saying? It's deep. The vibration low. So none of these things is going to be willed into existence in your life. None of these high frequency thoughts and ideas is going to be willed in existence in your life when you're vibrating low. There's no change and transformation and shapes being took over your ideas. So you're just going to experience not experiencing your high thoughts and ideas. And that's what it boils down to. You have to understand true balance, true learning, true knowledge. And how you learn that? By learning true knowledge. Learning which you have to, it's almost like you have to learn what you're learning. You see what I'm saying? It's people may not understand that. The same way how like a flight is. Y'all know a flightist. I just gave it a word, but a flightist. It's like, it ain't a religion or nothing, but if you want to correlate it to that, what is it? My soul group, this is what we know. We know you could believe everything, but not believe in nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? I believe everything, but I don't believe nothing. And if you can't consciously understand that, that shows where a range is at. Because we see this every day. We see this every day. Now, I know you believe something, and I believe you believe it. I believe you believe it based upon your actions towards it. For an example, if a person is running around because they feel like somebody is about to kill them, right? I believe that that person believes someone is about to kill them based upon that person's action. That person is acting like they really believe somebody is about to kill them based upon what they're telling me, based upon their actions, based upon what they're saying, based upon what they're doing. So I can't help but to believe that that person believes someone is going to kill them. But say I got some information that, from that person saying that they don't want to kill them. Scratch that aside. Say if I just genuinely don't believe someone is going to kill them. So I can just sit back and, now I believe you think somebody is going to kill you, but I don't believe somebody is going to kill you. So here's where the misconfusion comes. Because a person, you don't have to believe with that. It's no way of coming to that person that believe in that. This is what you have to actually learn. You see what I'm saying? So if I believe that this person believes someone is going to kill them, but I don't believe someone is going to kill them, then it don't matter what I say. It's not going to make them not believe someone is not going to kill them. This is where you understand that concept of you can believe in everything, but don't believe in nothing. So let's take that a step further. I believe everybody believe in everything based upon their actions. So I believe they believe that. But I don't necessarily have to believe that. So all I have to do is learn about what everybody believes. You see what I'm saying? Then I will be able to have the totality understanding of why they believe it. What's the goodness in why they believe it? What's the badness in why they believe it? And then I'm able to have a wide range and effectively come across to a person if I can see the energy, if I can see that energy is good for them or not, or make them realize if the energy is good for them or not. For an example, you got people who into a lot of things, but the things that they're into, the way the energy play out in their life may not always be good for them. It may make them have certain mentalities or make them do certain things. Now, if I have a wide range of understanding, and if I'm just used as a vessel by an overall, right, to have my certain mind where I can see that and I can actually help somebody, then my wide range of giving is better. So my wide range of receiving will be better. You see what I'm saying? So if I can understand what place of life this person is in, then I can show them where whatever energy that they in, whatever that they're into, I can show them what's good for them and what's bad for them. And I can show them, I mean, in this, a person know what they've been doing that they know that they shouldn't have been doing. They know that with themselves. You could just show it to them. You know what I'm saying? And then you can show them how to learn how to do that for themselves. Learn how to learn. You see what I'm saying? Don't just learn what you think is learning is. Learn how to learn. Who came up with the concept of of understanding, of overstanding? Who put that in the world? Who put learning in the world? Who put observing? That's what it really is. Observing. Who put that in the world? Then once you learn that, you learn all the totalities and learn every perspective of the concept of learning itself. Then you can kind of put your mind or in the space and location of the person who actually put that in the world in the first place. And then you will start to understand that it must have been beings in the world at one point in time who wasn't observing anything. And it must have been a being who came here who actually tried observing something before they had a word or a language or what it was. And they put that in the world. So that energy accumulates and it goes and travels. And anyone who's vibrating on that frequency vibration will be able to pick up the ideas and thoughts of that person who put that in the world. So anyone who was vibrating on a frequency of observing start receiving the ideas and the thoughts of that first being that actually did it. Now, as travel go, the range get bigger because that conscious space of observing go through a lot of travels, a lot of experiences, go through a lot of people who take this, to utilize this energy as a vessel, then they take it, then they transform it, and it travels and travels and travels to the point we got a whole vast universe. So this is why it's important and it's your responsibility to have a whole vast range of learning. So you can have a big, wide range of of positive and negative. You see what I'm saying? You got little, and then people's ranges be small in their own sectors. Here's an example. You might have somebody who played basketball. So only thing they learn is playing basketball. They got all these analogies on why basketball this and why basketball that. But only thing they're into is basketball. And you know that based upon that's the only thing they talk about. That's the only thing they see. So their positive and negative range is only in that area. So the more wide range they know about that area, the range of positive, negative, giving and receiving, the wider range it is. So they're able to give off a lot of basketball type energy and they're able to receive a lot of benefits from the basketball energy. So they may be in the NBA right now. But their range is only in that spectrum. You see what I'm saying? That basketball player can't teach nobody in football. That basketball player can't teach nobody in baseball. That only if it choose to. Only if it choose to learn and play all them sports. Then, if that person was to learn all them sports and got good at it, the range is bigger. You see what I'm saying? So since they can give off more energy, they got a lot more outlets to put their plug in. So they have a lot more outlets to receive the energy from that plug-in. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot more actions to put in this sport, this sport, this sport, this sport, so they can accumulate more money or accumulate whatever they're accumulating out of more things, out of this sport, this sport, this sport, this sport. Now take that analogy and make it broad perspective. See, sometimes there's no words for things. Sometimes you just have to express and explain. Because I was from realms of realities where language and words was way different. There was no, before I was in this vessel, I was in another vessel, up under another sun, another solar system, right? That had the brain mechanisms of understanding these things. So when I come here and see that there's people who don't understand range and don't understand the true totality of positive and negative, it allows me to understand that just the being that we are in right now don't understand it. So I can't genuinely be talking to a person, place, or thing. I can only be talking to this being we are in because that's where my conscious awareness lies. And that's the type of beings I'm having conversations with. So when I see a man who looked like me, I can only learn from that man. I cannot tell that man anything. And I can only learn from different perspectives. Woman, and if you want to say male and female, it's particles, positive and negative. Everything is negative. I can say male and female and be talking about but I could be talking about fucking particles and shit that scientists taught y'all. When y'all want to neutrons and shit like that. One of them is gonna be positive, one of them is gonna be negative, and that little orb in between when they both come together is what creation is what creation is. Period. So anytime two charges come together, what's ever created out of that, I'll let you know what range was that. And if it was nothing created out of that, that let you know on one end, the range wasn't big enough. Flight boss, bitch, goddamn air.